Good morning, welcome to Prank School, 48th day, I think that's right, of the 7th year, first video. This is not endless. I'm going on with the making of Resurrection. Now I want to talk about the soundtrack in Act 2. Maybe a little bit more of the story, but mostly the soundtrack. And I am going to erase because this all gets so complicated looking. I think I'd come to the realization at a certain point, all these separate characters, each with their own leitmotifs and stuff, I think they're going to have to yield to the places, like the garden, for example. The garden becomes, in effect, a character of its own. So does the guest house, I call it, the guest house. So I think they'll yield. And I'm not saying that they'll give up their themes, not by any means, but I think it's going to be more useful, I think, for a while, to think in terms of places. Another thing, it's occurred to me that I may need one more character that I could collapse into a single character, and he would be a tradesman who also delivers, somebody maybe with a pickup truck that comes by and trades. He could certainly be part of that, the fair, the feta, but he could be sort of a, once a week or something like that, he could come by. I think I'm going to have to add that character, which is fine. Trade and delivery. This, or the equivalent. I've got that there because I'm naming tunes that people know. And they're in the public domain, and I could use them. I think almost all of them here. I could use them without having to get all the permissions and stuff. But I say, or the equivalent. I mean, if a really gifted and inspired composer wanted to through compose, that's what it's called when you don't just have something repeating itself. Through compose this in the style of, say, Wagner, great. I mean, these would give the impression that I would like to lead. All right, there are the characters. I got to keep in mind that it's got to be reinforced continually for the effect of the movie that Festus is sad and angry. And we're not told why. I've told you, but in this description, but the viewer would not be told why, would not know. Marion is old. And not only is he old, at a certain point, it's got to be developed that he is failing. He's old and he's getting older. And Robin is pregnant. At first it was just morning sickness, but gradually it's got to become, I mean, she'll start to show after a while. But, these can't really be forgotten. All right, now, Batch stays in the kitchen, pretty much. That's his domain. Not completely. He's got to work in the garden, too. Bryn deals with the livestock, the goats, really. Oh, and maybe pigs. Possibly pigs. In which case, I would, when Batch, if I were to do that, I would like Batch to be really love his little piglets. And then have to deal with the tragedy of butchering them, or not, maybe not, and just letting them get old. I mean, it would kind of fit with his character in a way. Nama is water, but I don't think I mentioned it, that it's got to be developed really in the second act, that she also makes a sauna, a bathhouse, where people can bathe, and that would happen possibly you'd have the idea that within the first day they would actually have a chance to bathe, and that would be at the guest house. Once the water is found and it's running downhill, so right away it comes, and with a few hooking up of pipes, the water's coming into the place that will be the sauna. Let's see, so that's at the guest house. Festus, he works on that fire. This is a place where they end up working together, maybe ultimately living near each other. Nama and Festus, as he starts a second fire. This is a second chimney, a second building, a bigger fire. Festus is in the shops and associated also with wheels in general, the wheels of windmills, water wheels, burr mills, sawmill, stuff like that. That's Festus is doing, wheels. Paul is building, and Marion will work with him, and mostly it'll probably be Marion, and Paul will do the building. Robin Here, principal thing is going to be the garden and the chickens. And how that gardening is done, it's going to be through what I call extreme mulching. That's what makes it possible. Without power equipment, without gasoline, without tractors and stuff like that, how can they garden? Of course they've got hose and stuff, but by using extreme mulching, they can do it. Remember, this is didactic. I'm now in the section of this movie, Act 2 and 3, principally, which are didactic to teach kind of building, a kind of garden, and a kind of water management, and then voluntary simplicity. Robinson and his dog Bingo, they're always exploring, and at some point they find eggs. That's one of their sort of daily explorations, is to go find eggs, which they do. And he finds fasteners to nails. Various things he finds. He's continually finding stuff and then leading people to show what he's found. All right, now the music, the soundtrack. Back Inside, Go Bear, Go Bear is the only one at the moment that I can think of with Batch. And boy, I would take suggestions so happily as comments. If you can figure out what I'm doing and it reminds you of some childhood song that I should include. Little Bo Peep has lost her sheep. Maybe when the goats run out, that could be played. Remember, this second act, the tone might remain the same in that it's seriously intended, but the mood is not like the first act at all. This is very happy. Old MacDonald had a farm, but these are lighthearted things. As Turnen die Lieder is not known by Americans, but then this is a wordless movie. This movie is through music and through visuals. This music is to reach everybody, and it's a pleasant enough tune about spring. Spring comes back, and that might work just fine for when Nama takes Festus by the hand, and they go back out into the woods to open the water to the weir. As Turnen die Lieder. All right, now with Festus and the stuff that he finds, find a wheel and it goes round, round, round. I think that's not old enough. I don't know, but it came to mind because he's going to have water wheels and various machines. Jimmy cracked corn. There's going to be a corn sheller and a burr mill. I think I told you about. Esklappert. I can't remember the rest of it at the moment. This is a German song about water wheels, and they would be available. Now, the garden, these are the four that come to mind at the moment. The Happy Farmer, Mares eat oats and does eat oats, Mares eat oats and does eat oats, oats, peas, beans, and barley grow, country gardens. These are happy songs about farming and gardening. And then with Robin, I'm actually, that she would just, these would be hers, because the garden is what I'm talking about here. And then the boy, the little boy, Robinson and Bingo. Oh where has my little dog gone? And of course the song, Bingo, there was a farmer had a dog and Bingo was his name. There's a very, very old madrigal about a chicken laying an egg. The hen has laid an egg, which actually might actually be able to work with him when he goes to find the eggs or something. Well, remember, I say or the equivalent, and I also open this up. Now that doesn't bring it quite to the end of Act 2. I want to deal with the end of Act 2 in the next video. Bye for now.